What's good, PMPBeta? You've got noname4505 here, bringing you guys an OU match day against Nier. I think maybe it's Nier or something. I have no idea how to pronounce his name, but that doesn't matter. So, like I said, we've got an OU match here, and let me just get into explaining a bit of the team preview, or a bit of both of our teams. It's not the team preview, but whatever. We're both using Sun, which is good because that means I don't have to fight a weather war, so I can have Sun for the entirety of the match. And we're both actually using very similarly structured Sun teams. We both have Ninetales, which I'm assuming is the offensive Sunny Day set, since, at least in my opinion, that's the best Ninetales set right now. We both have Chlorophyll Abusers, him with his Venusaur, me with my Jumpluff. And we both have Xatu support because Xatu supports Sun teams very well. And we both have Scarf Fire types. He has a Darmanitan. I'm actually using a Scarf Tran, which you don't generally see too much, but this team originally had a Genesect, but ever since Genesect got the boot, I needed a Choice Scarfer, and this team benefited from Xatu support, plus Xatu also gets U-turn, so I replaced Xatu for Genesect, and then made Heatran my Scarfer, which means this team does not have Stealth Rock, but this team really doesn't need Stealth Rock, and it functions just fine without it. Then we both have Setup Sweepers. He has his Dragonite, I have my Landorus T. And I know most Dragonites are usually choice banded on Sun teams, but just based on the way my team structure looked and the way his team structure looked, I was fairly certain that would be a Dragon Dancing Dragonite, just because that's kind of like the standard for Sun offense. And then we also have a Steel type to help take on dragons. I'm using my Heatran for as my Scarf Fire type and as my Steel type, whereas he's using a Fortress to help him set up hazards, spin away hazards, in addition with his Xatu to keep hazards off the field and to take those outrages from those powerful threats. I'm taking a more offensive approach with the Choice Banded Terrakion because this team has Jumpluff as its main sweeper because my Landorus needs a little bit of setup for that, and Terrakion really helps break down those walls. And this Landorus T set is really cool. I'm not going to do very much explaining to it just because it doesn't do very much, but I'll upload a battle on my channel where this set does a lot more work, so go check out my channel if you want to find out more. So yeah, I'm just going to get started with this battle here. So I'm just going to lead off with my Heatran, figuring he's going to lead off with his Ninetales, but he actually decides to lead off with his Darmanitan. I don't agree with that 100%, but I'm not against it. He made a good play in that situation, and it's not a horrible play, it's just not what I would have done. And he's just going to U-turn right out of there, just because that gives him the best initiative, and he figured I would switch out, which I will, just because I don't want to take a superpower. And now he's into his Fortress. I'm just going to go right out to my Xatu because I don't want him setting up any hazards and I can just Heat Wave him. And I was just going to go back to his Darmanitan. I figured he'd go for the Flare Blitz right here, but he actually goes for the Rock Slide, which is, once again, that's not what I would have thought of you do, but I don't typically see Darmanitan since I don't play very much UU, so he's just kind of outplaying me based on my ignorance right now, but I'll make up for it later. So he goes for the Thunder Wave when I have a Xatu. Maybe he didn't know how the Magic Bounce worked, and he thought he could bounce back my Thunder Wave with his Magic Bounce, but that's not how it works, so you just paralyzed your Xatu, and that kind of sucks for him. Not for me, that's great for me. So we both just exchange Heat Waves, and then I go for another Heat Wave, just trying to deal damage, and he's just going to go for the U-turn right here, out to his Dragonite, and this is a very bad situation for me. Now, like I said, I thought he was probably Dragon Dance, but I wasn't sure if he was Choice Banded, so I switched out directly just to be sure, and I didn't go for the U-turn just to break his multi-scale. And now I've got my Landorus T in here, and like I said, it unfortunately doesn't get to do too much work as he just sets up a second Dragon Dance, and I just go for the Stone Edge to break his multi-scale, as he's just going to go right for the Outrage to take me out. And that's exactly what I was hoping he would do, because I can go into my Heatran, and at +1 I can take that Outrage at that amount of health that I'm at, and just take him out with the Hidden Power Ice. So that's good stuff. Right now we're 5-5, even Steven. And I'm just going to let my Heatran die, just to confirm once and for all if that Darmanitan was Scarf, which it is. And the fact that I didn't feel that my Heatran was going to be doing very much for the rest of the match. It was just going to be kind of switching into his Darmanitan and switching out. And I'd rather just fodder it off to get switch initiative with my Xatu, which I do right here, just go right for the U-turn. Just to, like I said, just get switch initiative. And now I'm going to go out to my Ninetales to finally get Sun up in this match, and I'm just going to go for the Flamethrower to take out his Xatu. Fortunately for him, this team really doesn't have any magic bounceable moves, if bounceable is a word, but it doesn't have very many moves like that, so he can afford to fodder off his Xatu. And at this point, I just want to see what kind of a Ninetales he is, whether he's a more offensive, a defensive variant, and we're just going to exchange fire-type attacks. He seems to be the offensive Sunny Day variant like I am, but he has the Fire Blast, I have the Flamethrower, and that's fine. He's just choosing power over accuracy, so he's just going to kill me off with a couple Fire Blasts, and because Flamethrower is obviously less powerful, I'm not going to be able to KO him with the Flamethrower. And now I'm just going to send out my Terrakion, and he doesn't have much to switch into a CB Close Combat, so I could just take him out with a CB Close Combat, and now he's most likely going to switch out to his Fortress, but he switches out to his Venusaur, which is a little bit unusual, but I just decided to sack my Terrakion just so I can get a safe switch right out to my Jumpluff to get some momentum. And now I believe he's just going to switch out to his Fortress right here. Yeah, he's just going to switch out to Fortress. And that doesn't really bother me because I do have a very hard counter to his Fortress in my Xatu. And now that his Sturdy's broken, it's even a better counter to him because he can't set up any hazards on me, and I can KO him with the Heat Wave. So I do believe he's just going to leave his Fortress in here as fodder. I don't agree with that 100%. If I were him, I would have gone out to Darmanitan because I can't switch out, and his Fortress checks my Jumpluff very well. So, like I said, I really don't agree with that, but oh well, I'm not complaining. So he's just going to let his Fortress die. I'm going to let my Xatu die because I can just go out to my Jumpluff and go for the Acrobatics to one-shot the Venusaur. And now it's 1v1 at this point. I'm going to go for the Sleep Powder, pray it hits, because Jumpluff doesn't exactly have the best attack stat. So I know I needed a Sword Stance to KO the Darmanitan for sure. Like I said, I don't play very much UU, so I don't know how good or bad Darmanitan's bulk is. So I just needed to Sword Stance, hope he stayed asleep, and then just KO him with the Acrobatics, which I do successfully do. So that's going to be a pretty good game right there. Not the best game in the world because, like I said, my opponent made some questionable plays. Some of them, it was kind of like you have choice A or choice B, and I would have gone with choice A and he would have gone with choice B. But that play with Fortress I thought was really bad, and he would have won the game had he not done that. But like I said, I'm not complaining because I still won the game. So if you want to see more of my content, please check out my channel, which will be in the description. And please be sure to leave a like. And if you don't leave a like for me just because you don't like my narration or the battle or anything, leave a like just because Jumpluff did work. I mean, it's a Jumpluff and OU. You gotta leave a like for that. So, anyways, like I said, I hope you enjoyed, and peace.